nice to be back as we are going to hop directly into the second game draft between old guys and Acta non-Verba. This is the lower bracket of the Divine League. Loser is out of the playoffs. Acta non-Verba grabbed themselves the first win. If you're just joining, it was a bit of a stomp. And this is Fearless, so we're not going to see any of those champions on the same team. But I'm excited to see what these bans will bring and what these picks will bring. That is the fun of Fearless Dabiman, as already things are literally just as they were in the last game with the bans.
Yeah, just a OG went to the blue side. It looks like they're trying to get a priority pick here. I think they might force the Smolder ban coming out of the side of Octanon Verba just because it's extremely powerful. I like the Brill and Ash are also just really good power picks, and you don't really want to leave them open. But this also leaves the opportunity for the old guys to grab Senna for themselves. Um, and they're not really changing anything. They're leaving up Karma for and V to grab. I guess they're more worried about Ari.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Karma's a bit better than the Ari, but I will say the Malignant's Ari tech is starting to make its way in, and it's been pretty strong from what I've seen. So maybe they're more concerned about that than with Karma. We will have to see if it goes the way we're thinking. I do expect to see the Senna here, like you were mentioning, does not get banned out. Instead, they option towards the side of the Smolder ban, but instead they might actually favor a different power pick, the potential Maokai, and they do. They grab that, throwing a bit of a wrench in the plans for both of us.
Well, I guess in hindsight, it does make sense. A and B can't grab Senna, so you're
Yes, that's
safe
true.
picking it later. Grabbing the Maokai, really good overall strong pick. Has been hit with multiple nerfs since then. And Kaisa, the new tech, thanks to LS, is hyper aggressive and hyper powerful. So we'll have to see if OG Senna, if that's what they choose to go, can actually answer.
Yeah, if they do decide to go with the Senna, it is a difficult lane to go into. That Nautilus and Kaisa will just shred through a Senna if she gets anywhere near either of them in the landing phase. So we'll have to see if it is the Senna. You'd have to imagine they have to pick it here, though, because if they do not and they leave it open for bans in the next round, I would be surprised to not see it banned out. But we'll have to see. Maybe they don't like the Senna, as no, it seems like they do. The question is it a farming Senna or not? As I feel like it's been optioned more towards the support recently, but I've seen it farming quite a bit as well. So it can go either way. And the question also is this amount kind of support with the Senna? I doubt it, but you never know.
Maokai is one of those versatile champions, can be played in multiple lanes. Um, Definitely not mid, especially with the Oriana being picked up there. Really good overall strong pick. This might have to force ANV to get rid of the Jarvan, just because of it synergizes so well. But they could potentially, yep, just grab the Karma here before they ban it out, and really smart play there from ANV.
Yeah, fearless means we get to see different champions, but we never said we didn't we get to see them on different teams, I
There
suppose.
we go.
It's just these are such strong champions, like you mentioned, Senna, Karma, Smolder. I mean, these are like S tier champions that'll just win you the game if you get them. So we're going to see a lot of them, it seems, as the Jarvan's going to be banned out, like you mentioned, alongside the Lee Sin. They don't want to have to worry about the assassination of their Senna and just the strength that it brings. The question is the Nocturne going to be banned out? And indeed, it will be. The ball delivery system has been halted. It is a Sunday, only on business hours, I suppose, Abimon.
Well, there is one ball delivery system left, but no one plays Rengar anymore. So,
This is true. And nor
but
should they.
nor should they, absolutely. But there are other options, especially if the Maokai is going into that jungle role. Maybe they already think they know what they want to do. It does have a good all in potential for them right there. But grabbing the volley bear for themselves, stronger in the jungle than it is in the top lane. Uh, so I fully suspect this going on stale bread and not forbidden love.
Yeah, I'd love to see Forbidden Love on another split pusher. It felt like that's really where he made his meat and his money and all that good stuff. But in Renekton, it is not easy. One of the strongest top lane champions in the early game. Really great trading pattern. So they've gotten themselves a good position, and you can get rid of some of the ball delivery system, but it seems like it can't get rid of it all. Wukong, one of those champions that is also really excellent in getting that Oriana Shockwave into the back line. Also, just great CC in general. And they have their composition, they have their style. The only question is, where will Acton on Verba go here? And whoa! Just flashing through all the champions, all the potential that they could go for. Having some fun with it. It's messing with, I'll tell you what though, it's messing with our timer. We have no clue how much longer they have to pick. It's not going to be a team.
Yeah. Did they really just pick Timo?
Wait, no, they did not. We are having word that there is a
This
Timo
is
pick locked in. Yeah, I'm seeing it from my very two eyes right now, Davimon. That is indeed a Timo.
Okay. You know what? I'm feeling really good about my 2-1 prediction right now.
Maybe they just want to. I'm so confused here. So this is, I believe, the first Timo I've ever casted in my life. This is probably one of the first Timos you'll ever see. If you have a friend who's not watching the Risen Divine League, you want to get them in here right now because the alerts are off, the bells are ringing. We have a Timo in a playoff series.
We do, and it is going to be spicy. Like Timo is traditionally really good into Renekton, but like Timo's also what you only see in a toxic player in solo queue in like silver. So this is going to be very interesting to watch for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Before we send it to break, we got to break down the Timo because it's a shock pick. But like you said, it does actually have some value in certain team comps. You're into the Renekton, you're into the Wukong, the Senna. These are champions that are obviously auto-attack reliant. Do you see the Timo working? Do you see this being a good pick? Where do we think we go from here?
I think it's going to be mostly useful into a Senna. I believe the blind stops the the actual damage coming out of Nightscale from his W. But I've never actually seen an interaction if the blind actually stops the damage from Senna's Q because it's considered on hit as well.
I don't think so because I don't think it stops Ezreal Q. And that's also considered on hit. The perfect thing is, you know what? I think we're going to be able to see.
At least we'll get some answers.
Yeah, we'll get some answers. Mad scientists here on the Divine League. Forbidden Love. After the Garen game, going with the Timo, trying to make sure things work. The other question is, what's the build here? Because I've seen the Timo go a lot of different builds, potentially. You sometimes see the Grasp Timo, build the Heartsteel and just become a tank and just constantly blind people. I feel like the normal build is the AP build. Sometimes you go auto attack, speed, Timo, you go on hit. Where do you want to see this Timo kind of option in?
I think Tank Timo is probably the best option this game. Just to add to another beefy frontliner, and nothing is more mentally taxing than seeing Timo live at the end of a fight that you all in on and died. So like, I think A and B is not just going for the physical action, but the mental one as well.
The mental warfare. Tell you what, Davimon, we have a good one. I cannot wait to hear Slayer and Goferino take this one over. We're ready with the game. No break needed. For all you happy Timo lovers, sending it over to them right now.
Yeah, Bonfire, I'm not happy. I don't like this champion. However, I do understand that like this is not just haha, look, I picked Timo, let's piss off everybody. Like, Goferino, this does, like you heard Bonfire and Dawimon talk about, have some real application into this game for Forbidden Love.
Yeah, purely for the lane matchup. Outside of lane, like all Timo realistically does is either be a nuisance split pushing, or you just shroom up the entire map and make the game insanely fun and interactive. Like, all the old gamers probably just going to be stocking up on Red's trinkets this game. I mean, that's kind of what happens when you face a Timo. It just kind of sucks.
Let's talk about Forbidden Love as a player right now too. I don't think we've seen Acta on Verba a lot this split, right? This guy's played phase. Oh, hold on. Okay, phase checking. He's gonna look for one. But my point here is
stacked up for now. It's ticking down though.
Yeah, this guy played phase rush Ignite top Garen, who had 2 KP in a win, and now he's playing Ignite top Grasp Timo. Who hurt this man?
Yeah, the grasp is interesting too if you're going ignite, because usually with grasp, I think the Teemo builds I usually see with grasp are like a little tanky-ish, slightly more on hit. You know, they're just going for the
Right.
split push game. But ignite kind of tells me that we might just be seeing the full AP Malignance Teemo here. It's kind of hard to call right now, of course. I mean, you don't really see Teemo too much outside of the
No.
quote-unquote troll picks. Although you did actually see him a ton at the start of the season because Malignance was just so busted on him with the shrooms.
Oh, don't remind me, Gofrino. I didn't want to play the game. I mean, you couldn't walk at points like if you were fed on Teemo, you could have like 50 shrooms down on the rift, and like you
Yeah.
just didn't you didn't get to play the game as the enemy team.
Yeah. Yeah, Night Scale, not really getting to play the game right now. This is why top laners hate ranged versus melee matchups. Even though everybody kind of knows against Teemo, you can have a much easier laning phase. You just take the Dorn Shield, you take the Last Wind, and it just helps you out so much because the Teemo Poison will continuously proc both of those and just give you a bunch of extra regen. You are still taking a bunch of harass, though. You can see right here, I'm going in. We'll get a slice and dice and a bit of a heal off that Q, but yeah, this is going to be how it kind of goes in Night Scale. Already down 10 CS. Going to be pushed under tower. Rice Farmer Tony is in the top side, so we'll see if they gank. But speaking of ganks and forced transitions,
Good root comes out from Appa, but the Dredge line already landed onto Copper. Amelia has to flash out. Does dodge out on that Void Seeker that might have killed him off with the full procs. And the old guys will survive the trade.
you have to be careful here, Night Scale. There's an Ignite on this Teemo.
Oh, don't tell me he gets a solo
Oh.
pull over First Blood. Forbidden Lovers Teemo is now a reality. First Blood over to ANV.
Yeah, because if you're Teemo, you always save the blinding shot for when the Renekton goes in, because then you can't Ruthless Predator stun them, because you're blinded. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of what you expect to happen when you go in. All the poke had already added up on Night Scale. We have another gank shape him up on the bot side. Sapling does spot it out.
Stale Bagel still
Does
committing
actually
here.
land a hook.
Flash Dredge line, matched by a flash from Appa. Copper does not have flash available. He has to twist advance to try and get some space here, but one more auto. Hypnotic Viper has another kill for ANV. His topside, hello! Forbidden Lover nearly pays the price with his life, is able to flash away, and he's even aware enough to back away from that turret, because Rice Farmer Tony would have had that kill if he stayed.
No. Could still technically look here, but doesn't have the vision we have. So not going to go for it. The Tabba is on first back as well here for this team on Forbidden Love.
I feel
That's
so
gonna
bad
be
for
annoying.
Nightscale. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Still could pivot into full AP here. And the Tabais could just be a lane tech. It's really hard to call with Teemo because like you just see so many random Teemo builds happen. There's full AP, there's on hit. Sometimes there's tank Teemo. Sometimes there's like kind of rosary Teemo.
There's like
Or you see
ADT
the
on
Rift
hit.
Maker come out.
Like, yeah, well said. I mean, at least it'll be fun to see what build he goes, even if, you know, I definitely despise the champion.
Yeah, in all honesty, the champion just kind of needs to rework. Like, the kit's so outdated. Like, Teemo loses like so many top lane matchups hard, and you're just unable to do anything. But there's select ones where it just hard dominates so hard it tends to be polarizing. And then of course Shrooms. Like, whenever Teemo gets ahead, like Shrooms are just such a pain in the ass to deal with. Like, you have to spend so much time dealing with that, and it's like, why bother? Right?
Well, that could be a reality here for old gamers soon. But that top lane prowl from Forbidden Love gives Grubs Proud to Stale Bagel, who should pick all those up for free. And another game in Season 14 goes with the trade. As you can see, Rice Farmer Tony will be uncontested on that Ocean Drake for first Drake to the side of OG.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Rice Farmer has Prio in both mid and bot lane, although first Dragon being Ocean is actually going to be very handy here. With how much harass Nightscale is taking in that top lane, just having the extra regen of Ocean. Even though it's not a ton, like, it does add up over the course of a laning phase, and you will certainly appreciate it. Hey, maybe it lets you stay around to get an extra creep. Who knows? But dive being set up here on the top side. I don't know if you'd go for this.
He has Dominus available. They're going to commit for it. Forces Dominus Ignite down. Gets the blind stun already through, but it looks like he's going forward. Nightscale looking for the trail of Forbidden Love. Will find the kill to at least go 1-for-1 and get some revenge onto this Teemo.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they really needed to wait for Stale Bagel to hit 6 there to turn off that turret, because they don't really get through this Crocodile in a very efficient amount of time here with Tab Ice Teemo and Jungle Item Volibear. And you see it there. You do end up positive on that trade, though, since you do get that extra assist gold, and the wave looks like it's moving towards Forbidden Love 808 in this top side. So maybe this Teemo will just be able to freeze here and be a nuisance. It's... Okay, yeah, that's definitely pushing more minions here for the side of blue. That should be... Oh, wait, no. I don't know. It's hard for me to predict wave states. I think I know it. It's like, yeah, this side has more minions, then it turns out I don't.
There's so much that goes into it, right? Because it depends on who the minions target and all that as well. We do get a look down bot side for Appa, who is on that farming Senna. This is not a fasting Senna. Near 20 stacks. And the rule of thumb to remember with a farming Senna is those soul count numbers you want to make, you can have them just because of the farming aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, preferably get a few extra here and there from trading against the enemy bot lane. You do outrange the Kaisa, which makes things easy, but of course, Etchen has a hook, so it is hard for you to walk up here. Does have the CS lead because of the back coming out from Hypnotic Viper and Etchen in that bot side. Should be a relatively calm bot lane for now, though, until we see the junglers come. Unless we see Etchen land a really big dredge line here onto Opa's Senna.
Yeah, well, especially once dredge, depth charge and killer instinct come up, you always have to worry about Kaisa and Nautilus. They have the all-in threat. That's why this bottom lane has stayed a staple around the meta for so long. Even if these two champions fall off a bit, if any of that CC lands, that Kaisa could follow up in an instant.
Ooh.
His Rice Farmer Tony is back and invading this blue side jungle. Stale Bagel
Not
not going to
spotted.
know until he face checks it. Still likes his odds, though. Going to track him down. Good clone. Still gets stunned through it. Some damage dropped over. And Rice Farmer Tony's going to back off. But it does show us that Stale Bagel is not going that tank volley in the jungle. You can see packed a punch with some of those autos on that PTA.
Yeah. And has the Caulfields and Lucidity Boots here, so this Volibear can be very squishy. Of course, when you pop the Stormbringer, you do get that sudden surge of health, but it's not like the top lane Volibear where you start the Doran's Ring, have a decent chunk of AP, which really helps with that burst heal. Because the healing has pretty decent AP scaling, but gonna have more burst just in terms of raw attack damage. So we'll see if that works out here. I'm assuming that Stale Bagel's probably going to just pivot into tank after this first item here, since you don't really have much of a front line. Otherwise, you don't really want to rely on just a Nautilus support with that Aftershock to be your sole front line, unless you're really ahead. Looking to disable the turret.
All right, turret turned off. Can they burn up before it comes back up? That question is answered hypnotically by Viper. Teleport through for Nightscale, a bit late. Etchen looking like he's going to be the sacrificial lamb as Stale Bagel does get out. Is taking a bit of time, though, Etchen, making this pesky. Nightscale certainly will be happy with getting a kill back here, given his topside lane, and it will end up being a trade 1-for-1 once the dust settles.
Does take a lot of time. Does add some extra damage here on this bot lane turret. It does mean that Forbidden Love 808 draws up Rice Farmer Tony to this top side. There isn't too much on the map to grab. Actually, no, the Grebs are up to grab right now. So, did take away that monkey from the little voidlings there. And it looks like Rice Farmer Tony is starting up these grubs here, but you have to look at Stale Bagel coming around on this Volibear. You have Pryor on the top side because there is no enemy top lane. You have a half-health Wukong here. Gonna pop the Cyclone. I think Rice Farmer Tony's outie.
Oh,
Wait.
Forbidden Love's flashing after him. The poison shouldn't be enough.
No.
But
yeah, it's only the Amp Tome here with Doran's Ring. Still, you get the enemy jungler out. This should secure the Hextuple Grubby here for you. The Grubby sweep.
Oh, but mid lane, look at this. Etchen getting on the Rift with that Nautilus. I assume Dredgeline was down there. Doesn't have depth charge for Kaisa, will be safe. The one lane that hasn't been full of action. I feel like it's the first time we flashed mid lane in the last 8 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like we looked at it like a little, like maybe level 2. Other than that, yeah, it's just been, has the mid laner roamed out? No, I mean, they're both farming up. The Karma shouldn't have too much kill threat here. And the Orion more than happy to just farm things out and scale. The Grub's already putting in some work here. And Love 808 gonna be in some danger here. Has to kite through the shrooms.
He did.
Nightscale is... Oh, wait, what happened? Mid lane. This is a dead Oriana.
Oh! Well, It looks like Stale Bagel flash for the stun. That's all I can really
Yeah,
say.
that's what
The
I'm
damage was
guessing.
enough. Over top. And AMV.
Yeah, good pickup there. That's right as Dragon has just spawned here. Gives you, of course, Prio in the mid lane. You can fish for Prio in this bot lane, but it's going to give you setup for this Dragon.
What's going on top lane? All right. If he's blind up or is Forbidden Love going to get stunned, he is going to eat it, and Nightscale gets his revenge. Teemo haters rejoice. OG's top laner sings it home.
Yeah, but this Dragon being taken down to about half. Hypnotic Viper is a little low themselves. Nature's Grasp comes out. Here's the fight.
Stormbringer forward. They're going right on top of the center, but nobody really follow up Stale Bagel. Doesn't have enough damage on his own. The rest of AMV have now grouped up, but Stale Bagel
Look
pretty
for the
low. So looking
shockwave.
for a big shockwave. Good flash from Hypnotic Viper to survive it. But the old gamers putting up a fight in this mid game, and they're going to grab themselves the 2-dragon stack.
It's going to be nice for them here. Work up towards that soul point. It is going to be a Chemtech Rift here. Yeah, they're going to be happy about that. They don't lose any blood over that, even though it seemed like the advantage was there for ACN after that. ANV after that bot or mid lane play where they got that kill. Had enough time to rotate back on up, getting resets. Interestingly, even though Nightscale had a lot of focus put on them in the top side, they are still down some CS. They are down some turret plates. Able to finish the first item here in the top side. Gonna have that Eclipse. That's gonna help a lot with trading and just threatening Forbidden Love 808 here in these 1v1s.
Does look like Forbidden Love as he lands another blind through the stun there. Is going for that mostly AP build. I'm leaning on the idea that's going to be a Liandry's rundown just to really reinforce the poison in the kit of that Teemo as the first item.
Yeah, add up. Although I don't. Teemo E doesn't apply Liandry's, I believe, since that's technically not a spell. Oh.
Shrooms and Blind certainly will, though.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and that's why Liandry's was just has historically been so annoying on Teemo, because you step on a Shroom and that continuously procs the Liandry's, which sucks.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just verbalizing what, or sorry, vocalizing what Nightscale's thinking in his head right now. Go Freno.
Yeah. Yeah. But either way, though, you have the advantage in this lane right now as this Crocodile. Since you have that fully completed first item, you have much more kill threat with the Dominus, just giving that huge burst of health that makes it hard for Forbidden Love 808 to burst through. But Herald Peak started up here by Stale Bagel. Will be a nice way to crack open first turret this game, since it hasn't been claimed just yet. You have 6 scrubs as well. That's going to be huge. First big fight in the bot lane.
There's Donnie's Shadow. Hypnotic Viper going to go forward with the killer instinct. Will pick up the kill through the Nature's Grasp. Can he get far away from Copper?
They're so
He's
outy.
going to end up safe. The Senna falls, and that's the threat of that Nautilus Kai'Sa bottom lane. AMV putting on display.
Yeah, Senna just so vulnerable here. Does not get very tanky whatsoever. And one straight hook is all it takes. Get this Kai'Sa up to 3-0, which is very scary. Hypnotic Viper accelerating through this game. Already has the E evolution. Stale Bagel getting a little feisty here. Does have backup.
Stormbringer drop. That's a ton of damage on his head, though. But where did Rice Farmer Tony go? Gets bursted down first. Nightscale will find the trade. And this is where the Renekton certainly likes his odds up against the Teemo. Trying to line up that stun. The blind comes through, but he can't blind the Q. The crushing blow from Nightscale, who is immediately online for OG now.
Yeah, when that Dominus is popped, you just have that constant ticking damage, which really just gets through this Teemo. And Stale Bagel, Forbidden Love, already kind of low from eating up a decent amount of that Cyclone damage. 2 for 1 in that trade. That's not too good here. You don't want this Crocodile snowballing, because you used your counter pick here to get this Teemo, to get that lane prio, to just make sure this Crocodile hated their life. But Nightscale, 5-2. Able to find themselves first turret here, despite being pushed in constantly. Now, this is going to be a scary Renekton once they get to team fights, because they're going to be very close to finishing 2 items here on this back, I believe.
Question becomes, though, same one from game number 1, as you can see, up 1,400 gold right now.
Yeah. All
Stale
that
Bagel, though, Also up a lot of gold.
Flash.
Going right back for the same tech. Gets Kai'Sa to flash. Won't find the kill because his mid laner is getting hounded by Rice Farmer Tony. Does not have Cyclone available. The Shockwave, though, will kill off Stale Bagel. And the old gamers are really starting to put a fight back into this game number 2. They do not want to go home just yet.
Yeah, they gotta be fighting for their lives right here, and they're certainly not going down with a fight. Like you said, that is a lot of damage here on this Maokai, though. Hypnotic Viper's just morbid on them hoes.
Gets rooted, goes through the killer instinct after the root comes through. Teleport coming through from Kai'Sa as well. Can they get the kills first? Appa's still up, flashes away from the last auto, and even the bottom lane for ANV can't find the kills. Here come OG.
Holy, that was such a huge collapse there. Hypnotic Viper so close to finishing off both those members there, but they're able to get away by the skin of their teeth, and that's another shutdown going over to Nightscale here. 6 and 2. That's definitely a second item here on this next back. Ooh.
More
Cyclone
fighting.
popped.
It's still Bagel looking for a pick on the Rice Farmer Tony. Gets the flash and Cyclone down with that Chemtrick Drake spawning. It doesn't seem like the old gamers want to just give up with those key summoners down. Rice Farmer Tony's still hanging around.
You don't have TP, though, on Nightscale to get into this pit efficiently. Thankfully, it is only the Karma and Volibear on top of this right now, so that is giving you some extra time. But yeah, it looks like they're just going to be giving it here. You got that 2-0 in the bot lane with that huge shutdown, and you're already up 2-1 in the race for Dragon, so it's not like giving this up is like, oh no, now we have to fight the next one, or they might get the soul. You're just like, all right, they have an extra 5% heal and shield power and a bit of tenacity. This mid lane turret is under siege.
A lot of key
Nothing
ultimates down for both sides here, so I think it's just going to be wave clearing, and that's exactly what it becomes.
Yep. It's going to be a little bit of an ARAM here. So things should calm down on the Rift, at least for a bit. No objectives until Baron spawns in a minute and a half, so those teams just going to be looking to kind of posture around here if there's any mistakes to punish. Nightscale is pushed up here, but do you have the damage? Mantra Q misses. You're going to have to kite hard here as this Karma.
Good root, Dominus Pop, Nightscale. You talked about 2 items of Spear Sojin likes his odds fighting up against these two. There's the Stormbringer pop down.
The homies.
Save Rice Farmer Tony is here. Does not have Cyclone. Intruder has to flash away. Still Bagel can't get the kills, and Nightscale will slice and dice his way to a dominating kill that now gets the rest of AMV pinched. Etchin eats a Nature's Grass and even grabs Still Bagel. Great pickup by Copper. And the turn once again coming out. The exhaust might be enough to set Nightscale up for godlike kills. What a turnaround for the old gamers top laner.
Yeah, now 8 and 2 here is this Crocodile. I gotta question A and V there. Like, you don't really have the damage to get through that Renekton there on that play, especially after that Mantra Q misses. Forbidden Love 808's looking for this in the mid lane. Shockwave hits. This should be a kill.
Oh my god, I mean, good flash over the wall.
Shroom.
Dice was down, and the Shroom will help.
Oh, Rice Farmer.
Just picks off. Good pickoff. Hypnotic Viper dies in the side lane in his own jungle. And what has got into these old gamers?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of an old person related joke about getting a random buff.
Is it bingo time? Maybe bingo is...
The AARP check came in.
Yep. That's a good one, too.
They definitely got some extra money in their wallets. They'll charge you mid lane. They should finish third. That's under half.
Maybe they got told if they lose this series, they go to the retirement home. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of jokes we could cook up.
Yeah, there's a lot of jokes. I don't want to be too mean-spirited towards old people, though. They're chill.
We all know and appreciate old people.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not all of us, but
yeah, not
at least
all,
everybody here, I
obviously.
assume.
You know, obviously you don't appreciate and love all young people. That's like the most generic statement you can make. I don't love everyone.
Listen, we got to cover our bases here, you know?
Yeah.
Only the Sith deal in absolutes.
Yeah, it's kind of like when someone asks you something, it's like, which do you think is better? And then you just hit them with a depends.
Yeah. All right, that was a shockwave that nearly killed Hypnotic Viper, who is learning that Kai'Sa is not fun to play at this stage of the game if you're down to some mages that can hurt like a truck.
Forbidden Love always dies here.
He gets the speed up. Doesn't die from the Q, the shroom. Slice and dice. Yep, see you later. I'm honestly happy about this result, Go Frino.
Yeah, I don't know if Forbidden Love 808 is doing like a kind of just feels like they're going a little for fun right here. I'm gonna be honest, as a catch in the mid lane.
Okay, but they have
Teleport
the front
from the
line
crocodile.
once more. Hypnotic Viper cannot get it on of these carries. He has to flash over to his own red buff, and once more, Etchin's Engage gets him killed, and it nearly makes Stale Bagel fall as well. They just cannot get the damage through to these carries.
Yeah, and I mean, they're just getting caught in their own jungle there, really. Like, you can't really walk in there because they just get absolutely popped. Beautiful flank coming out from Nightscale there. This should be the Baron. You don't have the Stormbringer to get in the pit. They're not even going to be able to trade Dragon for this efficiently because Dragon's not up for 40. So what's it going to be, a Montracue Hail Mary here? You got three members here.
Oh, but look at this engage. Copper wants to go in. The Shockwave going to hit too. Hypnotic Viper will be the one to stay safe, but Intruder is the one to fall. Baron does get a reset, so you trade the Karma for a call off on the Baron from Old Gamers.
Yeah, we'll see. I want to get anything else off of this. There's no mid lane turret. They won't be able to smelt through Dragon here because that's not up for another 10. So you stop Baron, but it costs you 3 gamers on the Rift here in total. It's not a good place to be in here if you're ANV, but they do also kind of have to make something happen here because you are behind.
They got to find gold somewhere. They got to get some of these shutdowns off the board as well, but you can see the vision. Stale Bagel doesn't have a clue in the world that Rice Farmer Tony is taking it upon himself to go for the Dragon. Now he does, as the Powered Blast Cone will send him over. Who can rotate over first? Because right now they're going to slug each other out. There's the first bout of Cyclone. Stale Bagel looking to drop some damage, but Appa is here first. This Senna certainly has a ton of damage on his own. On the backside, though, Kaizo's going to get picked off.
Nightscale here.
Hypnotic Viper grabs that one, and the Old Gamers are getting split up and picked off apart. Another kill over to Hypnotic Viper.
Dragon is
finally gets to play the game. Dragon secured for the Old Gamers, but it costs them at least 2 members, and Nightscale just cannot show
Nightscale
up
here
to find the trade back. He even has to back up as the numbers advantage is too great for OG.
2 for O there, and you get a nice shutdown, but it is also Soul Point going over to the Old Gamers. So they are going to be at least kind of happy about that because that gives them such a power point to play around here in the next couple of minutes when that next Dragon spawns. Like, if ANV had been able to get those 2 kills and steal Dragon for themselves, they'd be feeling so nice after that. But that being said, it was a nice play, though. You knew Nightscale TP down has to answer that top lane here because Forbidden Love 808 is going to be constantly split pushing. And it lets you get that nice play there.
And that's what you need out of the Teemo, right? It's the same idea as last game with the Garen. Is the Forbidden Love, even if he is this AP threat, you want to stick him in a side lane where he can keep soaking up pressure and hope that your 4v4 will have some success, or that you can get some more resources back off the back of Nightscale coming over. But the difference here being that Forbidden Love is not banking on the fact that all of his other lanes are fed. It's not the same reality.
Yeah. Yeah, you had that 3-0 Kaisa for Hypnotic Viper, but they got picked off in those 2 fights previously.
Oh, look at this flank from Stale Bagel.
Yeah. They don't see anyone, though. Okay, they see Opa now. This Senna is very much alone if they want to keep running down in their mid lane, but can just run back into the clutches of their team here. One thing to note, Nightscale TP is going to be up in a jiffy here. If anything starts around this Baron, they will most certainly be able to respond. Hypnotic Viper.
Oh my god, the 80s are fighting in Opa. I don't think you wanted that fight anytime, any day of the week. Hypnotic Viper will likely get traded out. The Cyclone is secure from Rice Farmer Tony. That's a lot of big damage already down. Kaizo the next target, with the front line doing a lot of good brunting. Intruder's big Mantra Q does a great amount of damage. The 3-man Shockwave just doesn't have enough pack-a-punch behind it. Kaizo now in a flash away from this Volley Bear, who lands the stun, and another Q sings home for Intruder. Nightscale just could not get over to the fight in time. He's even low health up against Forbidden Love. What is going on?
No way. Okay. ANV, like, at first I'm like, okay, this is a 1-for-1, but they get the shutdown. That's really nice. And then they re-engage. You heard me say, like, wait, their damage is gone. How do they do this? Like, they don't have an efficient way of cutting through people, but it looks like they do. You're able to land fatty mantra Q after fatty mantra Q. You're able to just get those Sundered Divine procs off constantly here by Stale Bagel. Just get through those health bars. Teleport is coming out. This Baron is still only at about 5k health, so could very well be contested. That Dominus is up here. This is going to be a dicey one.
Here we go. There's the slice and dice forward. Nightscale going for the fleeting steel. Can't get it through the smite, but he's still pretty healthy. Looking for a big heal. The Steric's doing so much.
Oh, the
Nightscale
shutdown.
can't find a kill, though. So many low health bars, but he's shut down. Appa having to be backed up by Forbidden Love, as well as his Teemo's getting as much real estate as possible. And despite Nightscale's heroics, nobody falls from ANV, and they get the Baron out.
Okay, ANV just getting away with a bit of murder there. Takes them a while to get through that Baron, but thankfully they're just able to kite out Nightscale there in the pit for a while with all the Karma Shields, with the Sundered Divine procs, and just barely clutch it out. They were also pretty lucky Rice Farmer Tony's Cyclone was still down there. So that Wukong ultimate was up. Probably the old guys are able to clean up a kill or two off the back end at the very least, and position themselves very well for this soul point. Rice Farmer looking for
it's up now.
the wall.
And he's going for Intruder. There's the combo drop down. Intruder's going to fall. Good pick over to OG. Look at one of those Barons off the table, but look what the other one's doing in the bot lane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Karma will be back up just barely in time for this Dragon. We'll have to TP.
Okay.
No, as the stream slow. Yeah.
This is a 3-item Teemo now.
Yeah, and Nightscale hasn't built any MR outside those Merc Treads, which were working really well in laning phase, but now with all the health shred, thanks to that Leandri's on this TMO, can do a decent amount to this Crocodile if you're able to land those shrooms and just whittle away.
Kai'Sa just teleported to get the wave. Intruder will be up as this dragon spawns. Does have teleport himself, so this could really dictate who can finish off this game.
Nightscale's getting chunked here.
Oh my god, Dominus, tons of shields. Asterix is getting burned through, and Nightscale is down, picked off on the side lane, and that has to be singing DEFCON 1 to the rest of the old gamers as they now lose their jungler. And still Bagel is looking for more with the Stormbringer, gets the slow onto Appa, who is a sitting duck having to flash away himself, and the next bit of frontline will fall in the background. Copper falls, 3 kills to AMV, who have strangleholded this game 2 out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, they just came out of nowhere. They found the winning success was just draw Nightgale away, and the rest of the enemy team can't really do too much to us. I mean, if you look at all the kills here on the side of the old guys, 9 out of 17 are on this Crocodile, the main source of frontline here. Got 2 kills on Rice Farmer Tony, 3 kills on Kai'Sa, 3 kills on Opa, and I'll hold that thought. There's going to be more kills here.
Yeah, Kai'Sa's dead. Standing in that Malignant's Mantra Q is a lot of damage. And Stale Bagel is making this engage game for the Volibear look so easy.
Yep. Get the flank there. Does also help that it's a 4 versus 3 on the dive, so that makes things easy. And of course, since it's 4 versus 3, you know where Forbidden Love 808 is. They're in the side lane.
Forbidden Love's real home, the side lanes. Nightscale gonna chase him down, but a little bit of baiting coming back for this Teemo.
Teemo global
Big
taunt.
move, Slice and Dice is down. Do they have enough damage? There's no Kai'Sa here, but it certainly looks like it. Steric's shield, once again, not gonna be enough. The Dominus, the only saving fate. The depth charge will secure the kill. Rice Farmer Tony does kill off Hypnotic Viper on the side, though, so it ends up being a trade.
It is a trade that will be nice for buying you some time here. Just keep defending your base. I believe the Baron buff has also expired here. And you haven't lost any inhibitors, which you got to be feeling mighty fine about if you're the old guys who have just been taking a beating here in the team fights for the past few minutes. Of course, you do have that one exposed inhib in the bot lane, and you kind of know there's going to be a single member just constantly pushing that lane or top lane. So that's going to be a thorn in their side.
Haven't got a chance to look at the set of stacks in a while. Looks like Opal was nearing 100, which, you know, it's hard to judge stacking when you're on a farming Senna, but the layman's terms here is that the 100 range buff, 120 range buff, can be massive for Oppa. But it's a very hard game to play as this Senna with the volley bear constantly hounding up at every fight, it feels like.
Yeah. It's weird too, because you have Copper as his Maokai who can very efficiently deal with the volley bear. You just, twisted advance onto them as soon as the ulti gets popped. Use the Bramble Smash to bop them back. The thing is, with Senna Oriana, you don't have the best ways to get through this volley bear. Because Steel Bagel, they are building some bulk here, They got the Deadmans. They got the Negatron in their back pocket as well, so they are just transitioning into a tank here.
I like it. I like the adaptation. Especially when you have a Teemo on the top lane, you have to do that, even if you are going that PTA Volibear. Yeah. Zetchin does not care about your slice and dice, Nightscale.
Yep. Oh, yeah, look. Look where Forbidden Love 808 is. The 6 stack of grubs really paying off here. Do we see Stale Bagel jump into the base here? Nature's Grass.
Right, here's a good Cyclone. A lot of CC down, but Hypnotic Viper is still safe. Intruder having to flash away. Killer Instinct back. Nightscale does get access to the back line. Shutdowns are coming across. The rest of A&V having to run for the hills, but it's going to cost them
ends up in 13.
Base.
That's a base turret, too.
So they pick up 3 big kills, but they're losing inhibitors. They're losing their base. But like you mentioned, this should give a Baron angle over to the OGs.
It should. Stale Bagel is technically alive and does have Smite. So there is a chance. It is a 50-50. It is a very slim chance because this is a low health vault. Okay, yeah. They aren't even trying here. Makes sense. You don't want to be running into the pit when you have like 700 health there as the Volley Bear without ulti. So gonna have to give up the Baron here. And those are some nice shutdowns picked up by the old guys here. That's going to bring them back within striking distance in this game. Only 4k gold separating these two teams, but you can imagine with the Baron buff here, that gold differential should shrink here. And you're going to like that extra influx of gold here since, once again, we have to talk about it being soul point because 40 more seconds until what could be the final elemental dragon of this game or until both these teams are on that soul point. It should be a bloody one. And Nightscale should be able to get there in time and not have to deal with a split-pushing team, in theory.
It does help for A&V that they have the super minions in the bot side. They'll have that wave constantly shoving, which does help with vision. And we are going to have the first fight, it seems, where Forbidden Love wants to be a part of the action. How much does that change things with how often he's been on the split push? It might not matter because Stale Bagel is looking to get a pick before it. Stormbringer into 4 members of the old guys. No. Really an over-index of power. He will fall. Teleport's coming across. They've killed off Hypnotic Viper as well. This game keeps going back and forth like a seesaw. And at the very least, OG are going to be able to pick up the Soul Secure.
The very least, but I mean, you got Baron buff here. There's only 2 members realistically defending on the enemy team here. This could very well be game bar some huge Teemo Shrooms and some huge Mantra Qs just coming on out. We even see the control ward drop. The minions are pouring in. There's the melees being taken down, but here are some fresh reinforcements. This is going to be a long one, so I think Hypnotic Viper and Stale Bagel have a very real chance of getting back up to contest this. Ooh, yeah, Rice Farmer Tony's being taken down low. The TP even being expunged here to make sure that minion stays alive, but...
Etchin survived. And now he goes for an engage. Copper is going to die here. So it's a bit of an overestimate.
Oh, they're TPing.
Oh my god, they know that the jungler isn't on this Baron. Intruder, can he steal it away? Nightscale is going to hold it.
That's Derek's popped.
To make sure that Rice Farmer Tony can get over here. The Mantra Q does not get it. Nightscale secures it. Chemtech Soul for old gamers. But they might die in the background. Dominus dropped. Forbidden Love looking to push forward. Does not have flash, but does get a shutdown. Intruder now has Appa cornered on the wrong side of the rift. This is such a wacky late game. But that Mantra Q missing means that Appa just burns Intruder. What is going on, Goferino?
Madness. 1 for 1, or sorry, 2 for 1 there if we include the Maokai dying in base. But hold that thought, it is not ending.
The Kaisa goes through with the Killer Instinct. Kaisa stays up the Seraph Shield. Rice Farmer Tony forces the Zodias out, and that's the Hypnotic Viper down. Stale Bagel falls flat out and engage once more, and he'll die for it. A double over to Appa as the Senna finally gets the avenues to drop the hammer.
What in the Sam hell is happening? Yeah, it looked like A&V, they just had the cleanup there. You have the pincer, you have those low health members on the enemy team. This Nautilus for Etchin going to do their best here to try and just hold off the wave a little bit. Forbidden
no.
Love.
What is this?
They're going to try,
kill
but they don't get the kill here.
And this should be game.
It should be. There is a Karma up in a few seconds. Hypnotic Viper is up in 10 themselves.
I don't think they can hold it. It's one.
I don't think they can, but there is a chance. Nature's Grasp comes out. It's going to miss. The Mantra Q back up once again. Got the 2 carries here. What can you do?
They're just burning the Nexus. It's over. And we're going to a game 3. Old gamers. They survived the Teemo. They survive a lot of missteps. And they're going to push us the distance here. Keep their season alive.
Yep. A lot of missteps on both sides, I will have to say there. It got really crazy in the end, but old guys able to pull it on back. After A and V, it kind of felt like they found a winning solution. You just constantly have that team of split push. It draws away Night Scales Renekton, and you're able to take the 4v4, but the 5v5, it just got messy.
Got way too messy. Too many picks on the side lanes. Some aggressive teleports coming out. They tried to fight without Forbidden Love. They gave Nightscale a lot of avenues back in. There's a ton to talk about, but Go Farino, that is not our job tonight.
Yeah.
And I am very curious to hear what Dabimon and Bonfire think of that chaotic game number 2. So let's throw it back on and over the analyst desk.
Thank you, Slayer. That was a bit of a crazy one across the board. Dabimon back and forth like a seesaw, constantly ebbing and flowing. No Nami. What an unbelievable game.
Yeah, that was truly Silver Scrapes at its finest.
Emphasis on silver.
Yeah. It was, like you said, it was so back and forth. It was super entertaining to watch. Just because, like, they were like, oh, it's over. I just thought everything was going to go in old guys' favor because Nightscale was able to, like, basically steamroll his lane and not get super punished by the Teemo counterpick. But then, like, late game, the mid game transition happened, and the late game came upon, and it just kept going back and forth. It was just unclean, but very interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to skip over some of the big fights and early games because there was just so much that happened. We are going to drop you at around the 18.5-minute mark. At this point, OG had really gotten themselves a lead, and this is what capped it off in the bot lane. It really felt like desperation for this, or actually, I don't think it was the bot lane, but it really felt like desperation for AVM. They try to take a fight onto Nightscale, and they think, you know what? We've got 2 members. We've got Intruder. We've got Stale Bagel. Surely we can kill Nightscale. But this is when this Renekton was at its strongest. And he's just 2v1ing until his team arrives. They're able to kill Intruder. And then there's just no damage. The Maokai ultimate keeps Hypnotic Viper away, so the Kaisa isn't able to get in. And the reinforcements arrive, and it ends up being a 3-0. And Dabimon, I said in chat, our producer chat, that I felt like this was over. I felt like it was GG at this point. I just didn't see a world where they were able to get through this Renekton, and it felt like it was going to be too difficult of a game. You know, if they can't 2v1 this Renekton, I don't see how it's possible. But obviously, things started to change. Things started to flip.
Yeah, things started to flip pretty hard just because they were able to isolate that Renekton.
Yeah.
Because all of the damage and gold is on him, and he is that front line. He's the person that's going to be in there first. And that was A and B's answer was just like, let's just burst out the Renekton and then start transitioning leads from there, as we're about to see how well they're able to pull it off from here. And they're also able to do it so well without the Teemo even being present.
Yeah, they don't even need the Teemo. The side laning threat that is the love was not present. And Dabimon, I want you to walk us through this one because you highlighted it perfectly. No Renekton, no party for OG. And in this mid-game, it really felt like that ended up being the problem. Baron on the cards, Hypnotic Viper, just 1v1s.
Yeah, so Hypnotic Viper being able to get that 1 kill off without Senna being impactful at all is super strong. And without that Senna there, they had no sustained damage because Kai'Sa wasn't online yet. Renekton isn't even a part of the fight, and they're able to just focus fire. Those mantra Qs landing every time, and she's cycling through those abilities so quickly that cooldown is incredibly short, and able to just end that team fight incredibly quickly and transition him into a Baron. It was just really clean transition play. This is where I was like, oh, ANV's gonna win it. I'm gonna go to bed early tonight.
Well, not yet. Still got to push back that bedtime a little bit because, as we'll see in this next replay, this is really the end of the game. It was, well, what seemed like the end of the game right here. As I'll break this one down. We go to the replay. It felt like this was going to be over for the side of OG. They had the push, but they just didn't have the wave state. And it gets crazy. This is a long replay, so after this, hopefully we can speed it up a little bit and get through all the insanity. They weren't able to end. Old Guys has to run away. They get picked just a little bit. And then the teleport comes in for Forbidden Love. And at this point, Old Guys kind of had the lead. They'd gone back into it, but their base is in tatters because of what the team was able to do. They're able to take this dragon. But now, is there a fight? Potentially, can we get a kill? Night Scale falls. There's that Red Acton that we were talking about earlier being so strong. Could be the win con. Falls. And so now, for AVM, they're thinking, you know what? Or ANV, they're thinking, you know what? This is our opportunity. But Appa just pops Intruder, so that's another member down. They go for a potential fight in the base on Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's able to kite this one out perfectly. I don't believe falls as well, or if he does fall, falls way too late. A huge shockwave, and yeah, doesn't fall at all. And they get the engage, the damage that they need. Hypnotic Viper once again dies. And this is what ended up being the push that won them the game. They're able to take down every single member and get the ace. And it really ended this wacky, Teemo insane game, Dobby.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really the Teemo that was like your lose con, right? Like you didn't lose because of Teemo. You lost because in the final moments of the game, Intruder missed every single mantra Q. And that's got to be rough for him. But like, you miss all those things on the Appa, and then you die. Now your team is like, oh snap, we only have a short amount of time before his reset comes through. Night Scale's still dead. We still have the numbers advantage, so they force a play. But the fact that they're able to get the Wukong in there, and he's able to use his full ultimate twice. Kai'Sa living completely through that failed dive. And they had no answers for it, and they were just trapped in the base, and they all died because of it. Really sloppy end of the gameplay. It was desperation. But hopefully they have a lot more chances now going into this next game, because now no one has to ban Senna.
Yeah,
it's gone. No one has to ban Karma.
Yep.
That's gone. And you don't have to worry about the super strong Maokai on OG. Like,
Yep.
there are so many good things available. No, there's so many things not available now. So this
Yeah.
game 3 is going to be really good.
Yeah, you highlighted it perfectly. Fearless is going to be pretty massive here. No Volley Bear on either team, no Senna, no Karma on either team. So we get to see what both of these teams have in the tank, left in them in their champions pool. As for both of these teams, this is the last game of their season. Could be the last game of their season. And it's sad to see, right? Because Old Guys, I think, obviously in our predictions, we all expected them to keel over. We thought that this was a stronger Acta Verba team, but they have shown a lot in the tank, even against some counter picks, against some craziness. They still were able to win this second game. It's not over. Their season's not over for them. It's a little sad that one of them has to go, but a little exciting that we get to see one more game between these two.
Yep, and we're gonna get right into it right now with the draft. We see that AMV selected for the blue side, immediately going for the same bans. Because of Fearless, they actually have a lot more control. They don't even worry about these power picks. The only one that's really left up that they should make a play for would be Smolder, since the Karma, Senna, and Maokai cannot be picked by OG. So just ban out something you don't want to play against, force them to make the Smolder, just like that.
Yeah, the Aatrox is going to be banned out, and I'm glad you highlighted it, because Aatrox is just one of those champions where if you don't want to go against it, you don't have to. It's a very strong champion. Does mean that the Gragas is left open. We've seen the Gragas banned a little bit. just because of the strength that it brings. And we talked about the AP, the healing, the innate tankiness, the engage. It's just a very good champion. The question is, what is the response for the old guys?
Well, Old Guys has, yeah, Poppy is available. It is really good into Gragas. It doesn't really stop his belly buster. At least the damage will still go through based off the interactions that I've seen. But Poppy is not as versatile as Gragas is. Gragas can go into 4 different lanes, truly, if you wanted to, and be impactful. Poppy, realistically, can only go top or jungle as a Gragas counter pick. But we see OG grabbing out the Varus. Anything to create that distance seems to be their answer as A&V grabs the Gragas and going for an all-in constantly.
Yeah, they are going to switch over to that Nico. So it could be a potential Vi angle. Vi Nico, very strong duo. Could engage. Looks like they're going to option more towards the team fighting as the Nico ultimate. Just one of the best in the game, bar none. It just getting everybody grouped up and then slamming them down, doing a lot of damage, getting the stun. It's just one of those champions where it's like, well, how do we fight against this? A&V want to one-shot it before they even get to that point with the Aphelios. Question is, what's the support? I'd love to see a Thresh here, Dabimon.
I love Thresh. Definitely my OG main. Back when I started playing support, got on my climb. Just a very versatile champion. All the buffs have made him super playable. But they themselves are going for that Orianna. Just a really strong answer into Nico. Overall, very versatile control mage. And it will work well with any type of engaged jungler.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'll work very well, and I think disengage from OG what needs to be the name of the game here. Hopefully, this Kaisa decides to go for the LS build to do tons of damage instead of just some damage.
I know. I could see when he was building that. I could just imagine you being more and more frustrated because it did feel like that Kaisa did not hit as hard as it could potentially have. So that's what it comes down to, right? You can have a great champion, but if you don't build perfectly, it will not hit like it is supposed to. We'll have to see if the itemization is perfect this time. I will say something about this Orianna is it draws a ton of bans. Just things that go well with it. Nocturne being one of them. Jarvan would normally be as well, but the Fearless means that they won't have to worry about it. They can instead option more towards another support or another top laner if they would like. Might also keep an eye out for that Wukong ban because the Orianna Wukong, we saw it last game. It didn't really do a lot in terms of the synergy that we expected, but it still is very strong when perfectly put together.
Yeah. I think it does draw a good ban if it does go through with it. There's just not a lot of other options out there, and it did have moments of greatness in that last game. They just weren't team fighting. They were 1v1ing, and then they started to go at each other. So most of the cooldowns are blown before they could even do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
AMV probably looking to slow down the game in Game 3 and play smarter, more macro like they did in the regular season.
I would agree with that one. Like I said, the Vi still available alongside the Nico. Really, really strong. Also good with Orianna. Another good ball delivery system. They are going to ban out the Vayne. That is 3 straight Vayne game bans for OG. They know something we don't, my friend.
Yeah.
I think they're aware.
Forbidden Love is that split pushing. He showed excellence in that ranged matchup last game. So why not just keep that Vayne away from him for sure? Just because if it does spiral out, it could be a loose con for OG. But like you said earlier, grabbing that vibe, very strong with that Nico, especially into a low mobility champion such as Aphelios. But you also have to worry about like the side of OG's going all in, but is AMV going to answer with some disengage, like either going like a Braum, or I really am a fan of Xin Zhao Renata. I think Renata brings a lot to it, and a Forever Live Xin Zhao is just super annoying, something that can frontline forever, and it does synergize well with the Orianna.
That's a good point. I would like to see some disengage. I think you bring up a good point, right? This OG squad is wanting to go in. They want to send it completely A and V kind of meeting them at the doorstep with this Xin Zhao, but they're just not nearly as strong in terms of straight engaging. The Aphelios the Oriana means they need to front to back it a little bit, so we'll have to see what they're going to go in the support. Like I was mentioning earlier, Thresh still available, but so is that Maokai. And if you want disengage, hard to find somebody better at that than the Maokai. Just really, really good at keeping them at arm's distance. And when they do get close, you can just drop the ultimate, ensure that everyone's has to kind of back up. So Maokai gonna try to keep this Aphelios and Oriana feeling safe and happy, and gonna try to make sure that when they are fighting front to back, they are staying as safe as they can.
Yeah, and it does provide a lot of more utility. It gives you that jungle pressure because you can throw those saplings out and get some free vision. It looks like Akali is going mid, and it might be a Nico support here.
Could be.
Or-
Yeah, that's a good point.
Just with that Akali lock in, playing hyper aggressive. Akali is super good into Oriana. It definitely wins that matchup 9 times out of 10. But it does leave a question mark about how well it does synergize with Vi, because it's way better with the Nico than it is with the Akali, because the Akali wants to make plays, flashy plays alone, whereas the Vi wants to lock it down and you can CC chain. So maybe we look for a more bot-centric game from the old guys here.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because this is an opportunity where, like you said, the Akali and the Vi could have some anti-synergy from the old guys. I will say, kind of fun if you're just looking at the draft and vibing along. It's an all-girls team on old guys. So on Women's History Month as well, they've got themselves an all-women team. Just a little fun thing that I noticed. In the
And
game
it's also Pi Day.
It is also Pi Day. Yeah, happy Pi Day.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any pie eaters. Actually, Gragas might be a pie eater. I could 100% say
Gragas looks like he could eat a pie. Gragas looks like he'd win a pie eating
I
competition.
was about to say Gragas might be my winner for the pie eating competition. So they have the pie eaters versus the Women's History Month. We'll say a little bit of festivities across the board. One last thing before we send it over to a quick break. We talked a lot about the early game in Game 1. It ended up being pretty important. This game, I think that it's going to be a lot of the same thing, the synergy between junglers and lanes. Which team do you like a little bit more in the early to mid game?
I like I like A and B. I think the Xin Zhao Oriana combo is extremely strong, especially since we're not going to see that Nico mid unless they do some like weird thing where Nico is mid, Akali's top, Poppy support.
Right.
But I just don't see that happening. So the Vi Akali will have to answer. It just might not be as clean. It will allow for maybe some more outplays from A and V in that mid jungle duo.
Well, we will have to see as both of these teams get ready for a pivotal Game 3. This is it. This is the last game of the night. And for one of these teams, the last game of the season. We're going to send it to a quick break. But when we come back, the welcoming arms of Slayer and Gofrino will embrace you as we get to the pivotal last game. Stick with us.
涙よ星に瞬きを伝えて守るものがあるからきっと強くなれる語るべき言葉なくした星の守りでは時の果て夢の果て闇に立ちすくんだ風を呼んでみたんだ空に向けて誰かを呼んでみたんだ光求めたソリチュードかすかなレゾナンス確かに届くロマンスそんな流れ星たちを抱き留めた明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河にこぼれて道を強く照らす Burning Bright それぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導かれた重ねる手と手には言葉なんかより伝わることがある熱い心通じ合った確かなレゾナンス見つけるのはエッセンス目指した意識の先がディスティネーション答えが見えなくてくじけそうになって支え合い誓い合う絆でつなぐシャイニースマイル心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道を開く鍵は My Starlight Heart明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道が開いたら羽ばたいて行こうよ乗り越えて行こうよ星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜を新しい朝をここからまた始めよう My heart shines endlessly 飛び立て
It's been scrappy, it's been bloody, it's been questionable, but somebody is going to come out of this series alive in the Risen Mythical playoffs. Old Gamers taking on this ANV squad that has shown some resiliency, Go Farino, and now both these squads had to do it with their draft. Thanks to
Yep.
Fearless.
Both these squads fighting for their life. Like you mentioned here, do or die here. Of course, the winner will still be in loser's bracket, so you are going to have to go all the way through loser's bracket to get to the grand finals, but tonight is the first step in that path if you are going to make it to the grand finals here of Mythical. Won't have too much happening level 1, nothing too feisty that could happen. Except for maybe a flash body slam, maybe a flash twist advance, but gonna see some nice little wards being placed down just to track where these junglers are. Scale Bagel is in the top side, so they will know that. At least have a very nice idea concerning they place that ward down a little past a minute 10-ish there.
Do throw a bit of a fake. Copper was pretending to be Rice Farmer Tony, so maybe they think that the Vi starts bot side, potentially, when Rice Farmer Tony actually is starting the top side. I do believe, well, maybe the ward saw Rice Farmer Tony up there, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. could have. I wasn't watching minimap there. At the very least, it might spot out Rice Farmer Tony here. Both these wards, well, okay, it'll spot Rice Farmer Tony if they did red buff into Raptors into buff to try and gank, but they're going to be doing red buff into the rocks here. Might just be going for a full clear here by the looks of it. You do kind of want to power farm up to 6 SM5, so you get that Assault and Battery. You can, of course, look for early game ganks if you're able to get a good Vault Breaker down. Flash Q, a very potent drug. You are that Vi, but it can be a little tricky.
Pretty sure he also did see that ward go down, but he will be spotted on it. Still going for that full clear. Stale Bagel, operating in a similar capacity here. Actually, I don't know. I think they at least saw that the Raptors moved, so they have some sort of idea about Rice Farmer Tony's clear. I'm pretty certain.
At the very least, they saw the Raptors go down there. I think they had vision of the camp when it drops. They also have timer. At the very least, yeah. If you're a jungler and you're doing your first clear and you have a ward in the enemy jungle, you're just kind of watching that like 24/7, at least on the first clear, just to know where they are, because usually you're not ganking right now. You're still farming up. You can look for early ganks, but none of these junglers want to fish for that. And relatively calm early game. There is some feisty trading going around. You can see a couple of these health bars hovering around the halfway point. Kai'So dropping very low here and does have to be careful, but there is not too much mana left on Intruder.
To the kill threat either, with both of them rocking the teleport. It's a calmer early game for one reason, Gopher, I figured it out. It's Forbidden Love is not playing solo Q, Teemo, Garen, Ignite Cheese. He's stabilized, so.
Yep. Although
makes the top lane a little more calm.
Gragas is also really potent in the top lane. Because he's able to just be so safe in lane with a sustain. You throw out Q, hold that thought. Gank in the bot lane, actually.
Yeah, they find Stale Bagel waiting there. Good Vault Breaker forward into the flash. If not, Viper gets over the wall, though. Will stay safe. Etchin very low. A couple more olives from Appa could have done it, but he flashes to safety as well.
Okay.
And Stale Bagel that comes out with first blood. The lethal tempo going crazy for a double. Landing 2 big kills and might set up for more. Appa
Can Oppa clutch.
Stun, flashing forward for an auto. Gets himself a
With
double.
double buffs.
Has the lethal tempo going. A couple more autos. The Twisted Advance will not come through. Appa triples up for those old gamers.
Oh, and it's not over yet. Forbidden Love in a bit of danger here. Nightscale can flash. Body Slam should ensure Forbidden Love is safe here, but 3-0 Kai'Sa. Giving you some throwbacks to game number 1 where we saw A&V go for that bot lane gank very early and give up 3 kills. This time around, all 3 are going over to Oppa. Can hard scale as this Kai'Sa. We haven't seen what the build is just yet. Hold that thought. Intruder in danger. Should flash.
Yep, good job holding it until the Vault Breaker landed, because they know there's no extra CC coming through. And Rice Farmer Tony didn't have flash, but that's still flash off an Orianna in the early game.
Okay, I'm looking in the back. Okay. The Noon Quiver and Recurve bow here for Oppa off that first back. Yeah, it is still a pre-6 early game Kai'Sa here with a Nico support. It's not like it's with a Nautilus support or another high CC engaged support. This is still a pretty scary Kai'Sa going towards, I can only assume is going to be the Kraken Slayer here. Helps you get the evolution breakpoints much more easily compared to the static Shiv. And that should be coming online here pretty soon if they just keep up the farm. Should be about 1,000 gold.
When we saw last game though from McDonald Viper that Kai'Sa, you still got to position correctly. It's like a lot. It's like many AD carries, right? It's like the AD carry position. But Kai'Sa, it's really indexed that if you are not positioning correctly in these fights and not using Killer Instinct, you know, your invisible dash later on in the right way, doesn't really matter how fed you are.
Yeah. Yeah, and dashing into this enemy team might be hard. Rice Farmer Tony gonna have to Vault Break over the wall. Does actually get rooted here.
Look at the root chain. Graviton into that Twisted Advance and Hypnotic Viper with the CC setup gets a very valuable kill on this Aphelios.
Yeah, getting the last bit of Gravitum there to secure a kill. Going to be very helpful here for this Aphelios. When you're facing down a 3-0 Kai'Sa And it also looks like it's going to net him first dragon here. We see the collapse coming on through 3 members. This is a level 6 Kaisa now. Root lands.
Perfect execution. Great from Kaiser. The flash out was flawless. Goes back in. The shockwave
Big
will claim a kill
shockwave.
and get Appa killed off as well.
The
Double
shutdown
up
too.
shutdown for Intruder as A&V swings right back.
And that looked good for the old gamers there for a second because, yeah, there's some low health bars here. You got 3 people collapsing on in, but Kaiso just really low health there. Cask lands. No turret aggro.
No mana left for Forbidden Love, though, in Night Scale. He'll be licking his wounds.
Yeah, keeping it close, but that is a huge shutdown picked up there. Intruder getting both kills. Also, first dragon on the board. They got the first 3 grubbies as well. Nice early jump here in terms of the objectives, and you can see that narrows the gold lead a decent bit in this bot lane. Only 700 gold separating these 2 ADCs, so a little over 2 kills. Hey, you'll take that after what was a pretty disastrous first gank. See what else they can do here in the bot side. Should be at least a little calm on the rift here until the next grub spawn if we see a fight over that. Although that thought, that's a lot of damage. Instinct is available for Opa. They're not going to pull the trigger, and of course...
Whoa! And topside, looks like Forbidden Love found enough mana to get that solo kill.
Alrighty. Able to get the solo kill when they have next to no mana as Gragas. I didn't see what Nightscale was on there, if that was like a canceled back or something. The looks of it, Forbidden Love had not backed here, considering they're still rocking like 60 mana tops here as Gragas after that all in. But hey, a kill's a kill. That's going to help you get back some of the CS here on this top side. That should be enough for Catalyst on this bag, and that'll help you a lot in the sustain game in this top side.
Gold still in the favor of Acta non-Verba. And they have the mid-game power spiking, right? The ball delivery system this Stale Bagel will look to be could be really threatening with the damage this Shockwave could bring, but Rice Farmer Tony really, really wants to try and pick off Intruder, whose flash is still down. CC desist is up, but you can't wait that long. You're losing valuable time. Intruder, he doesn't know how much danger he's in. There's the Vault Breaker forward, but they just can't get Kaiso close enough.
Interesting. Because you can just point blank ulti there, unless they thought Intruder's flash was back up, which I guess is a possibility. But still, the point blank ulti there into the perfect execution should be a kill. Nightscale in danger here.
Once again, very low up against Forbidden Love. Both have corrupting potions going, or Nightscale does. The Buckle Shield helping out. It does have a sizable CS lead despite giving up that solo kill, so this top lane matchup's a lot more even than the kill score would dictate.
Yeah. Now Poppy able to do well here into the Gragas. Has the early Merc Treads as well. It's going to help a lot just in terms of absorbing the magic damage, all the stray barrels that come your way. Whatever stray abilities also come your way. That's the Longsword and Ruby Crystal, though, so looking to go towards more of the Bruiser Poppy here. Oh,
okay. Kaiso's dead in the mid lane. More kills
we
over
can
this
just go.
mid-jungle duo. For A&V, they're looking to just bring this series home.
Yep, looking to bring it on home. Throw back to game number 1 where we saw Intruder and Stale Bagel just kind of really start to take over the map thanks to that mid-jungle dominance coming on out, and they're continuing it this time around. Flash Pop Blossom.
Double Pop Blossom. Hypnotic Viper, good flash away. The Graviton Gun going to help make some space. Killer Instinct forward up, but does take a turn shot.
Auto the wrong person.
The wrong opponent, and he's going to die in a trade for it.
Oh. That was risky there from Opa, even in the best situation. Nightgale might have a bit of revenge in the top side. Does have the Keeper's Verdict, just going to get casketed away. All 6 grubbies down as well. So, A&V, pretty decent here. Small kill lead. They've gotten all the objectives this game with first dragon, 6 grubs. We'll see if they continue that here, because that is some nice objective momentum going into the mid stages of this game.
Titanic Hydra done. You've got Intruder on his way to that Saras, which is such a key shielding, especially for a comp that has a Kali, a Kaisa, and a Nico. This Oriana is going to be far from safe. It's a bunch of dive comp. Items are coming through. But they still have to be careful because the potency of these old guys' comp, and you can see it online right now, is Hypnotic Viper. Good dodge on the first snare. And with Ghost popped, no cease and desist once more. Rice Farmer Tony doesn't want it.
Also, quick shout-outs to Crunch Time GG for the raid. Thank you, gamers. Welcome. This is game number 3. This is losers bracket, so whoever loses this is out of the Risen Mythical tournament. And right now, 1-1, both these teams on the line here.
And right now, the old guys are looking to try and get one of those neutrals back, but it's a steal from Stale Bagel. That looked way too easy, and now the engage will come out. The Xin Zhao, very powerful. Big pop boss back. Kaiser
oh no, that's your friend member.
But Copper's already dead. Rice Farmer Tony to fall right behind him, and now the only one left up. A double for Hypnotic Viper. And the number 1 seed from the 4th group, A&V, looking polished in this elimination match.
Yep. Really just kind of whipping the opposition right now.
Ooh.
With these collapses. Huge shockwave coming out. Now you got 3 kills on this Aphelios. Stale Bagel snowballing as well. They continue their objective dominance here. And you had such a great start too. I mean, Opa 3-0 as the Kaisa. Set up to dominate in that bot lane, but that is one of the follies of ADC. When you get ahead, you just have the world's biggest target on you. So Pan up here might see a solo kill. Flash Body Slam will be available here in a second.
That Buckle passive shield, a real good deterrent. No explosive cast up, already using that prior trade. But we know Forbidden Love is far, far from passive in these lanes. Certainly gonna be nice though that he's gotten back that CS deficit. He's back from down 20 CS down. And that's a lot of damage on Hypnotic Viper. I like the play from Appa, but the heal over across is enough to keep him safe. And once more, Appa will die, trying to dash forward and sacrifice himself for the trade.
Yeah, and a bit of desperation now coming out from the old guys here. They kind of recognize, like, hey, we're starting to fall behind here. And been able to get any momentum going. Maybe we get this shutdown here.
Oh,
but it's going to cost them even more. Copper caught out in their own jungle, just trying to back, it looks like.
And you said it, Gopherino. What really made Game 1 unplayable, it felt like it was Stale Bagel and Intruder. And specifically Stale Bagel, what a game number 3 on the Xin Zhao. 10 of the 13 kills he's been a part of, and he's 6-1, trudging along to 2 items.
Oh, and the 14-minute objective bounties notification. Yeah, it's jumped up to 6K at this point, thanks to those kills picked up in the bot lane. And I don't think it was all 5 plates for Hypnotic Viper, but they at least got 4. Rice Farmer Tony gonna have to stash on out.
Ooh, good explosive cast gets Nightscale pin. The Keeper's Verdict only gonna hit the Xin Zhao. That's enough to keep Nightscale safe, and I got word from our producers that it was all 5 plates. Hold on, might have another engage here. Kaiso, though, realizing that there are a lot more enemies in front of him than just the Tree of Etchen. And we'll actually be able to run out of there. But you can see the old guys, I mean, they just, at this point, can't take any fights with how far behind they are, if it's even footing.
Yeah, they have to just kind of look to gang up on someone here, which they certainly can do with their composition. I mean, it is a big composition here. Everybody can contribute. Everybody can lock it down. It's just, they are really far behind, like you mentioned here, Slayer, and they're going to have to go for these dirty fights here and leverage their pink composition. Because if you don't get something going fast here with how far down in the pot you already are, this might just be it for the old gamer season.
Yeah, the old guys, it doesn't help that all the key people they could go for have their summoners up, right? Hypnotic Viper and Intruder both have Flash available. Ghost as well on this Aphelios. Make it really hard to pick them off. Even if you get that first catch, they can create some space. And what a game from Acta on Verba right now. Game 2 was as sloppy as they come, but this game looks even more polished than their Game 1 win.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a common out swing in, feels like. It was only really that 3-for-2 trade in the bot lane where Opa got 3 kills there in exchange for just 2 on the enemy team. It looks like it set him up well. Even had Nightgale just winning the farm department in that top lane, but solo kills in top lane. Mid lane jungle duo just kind of collapsing on you, and then that one shutdown going over that was on Opa, putting so much incoming intruder. It's kind of led us to where we are right now, where 16 and a half minutes of the game, we're already kind of saying, like, the old guys, they're up against the ropes here. We're already talking about how they're having a fight for their life here. And Opa's just gonna die here. Flash.
Yeah, great graviton into this flash explosive cast. There was no way Opa even got to play the game at that point. And the pick comp gets picked off, and that just signals even worse for the old guys.
Yep. It's just gotta feel bad. Falling even further behind. Nothing else much to say. Great flank coming out from Forbidden Love 808. Just flash, body slam onto that carry. Make sure that they are treated like a second-class citizen here. Just unable to play the game.
And now they'll set up for this free dragon take. This Kaiso doesn't have any vision of their own jungle at this point. Cloud Soul, maybe not the one to really help the snowball, but you'll certainly enjoy a Cloud Soul if you can grab it at what would be 22.5 minutes on a Gragas, on a Xin on a Maokai, to create more and more opportunities.
Yep. All right, they're looking for something here against Forbidden Love.
Doesn't have a ton of Roa stacks up just yet. Good brunt, so the body slam does not go through, and there's the pick they need. Some light at the end of the tunnel for Rice Farmer Tony and company.
Yep, small bit of income going into the top jungle duo's pockets here. Get this Poppy on the board with that assist. It's not worth the most. There is no shutdown on the kill, so it's just that pure 300 gold plus this assist there. But you don't give up anything for it. You know, there's some pressure in the mid lane here. You're fine with that.
Objective bounties available. They'll try and knock down some of these turrets. Nightingale's going to get a decent push into that top side turret, but like we mentioned time and time again, got to get these bounties off these carries. It's going to be a bit harder for Stale Bagel, even though he has the highest one, but at the very least, we got to start burning flashes on Intruder and Hypnotic Viper. You cannot sit idle with this comp. And they won't. There's the flash forward. Cease and desist, but Viper pulls them under turret. The Killer Instinct not gonna set up. Hypnotic Viper stays safe. The Pop Blossom doesn't hit any priority targets. And what a turn from the ANV80 carry. Immediate double. Forbidden Love's teleport to sink it home. Kaiso, he eats the wind, becomes lightning. Does have flash available. Perfectly executes over the wall. Still trying to get away, but Etchin's gonna track him down, cut him off. He doesn't even burn the flash as Stale Bagel goes unstoppable.
Oh my. And guys, they try there. You get the flash, cease and desist there, but Hypnotic Viper just able to flash under turret, and the only follow-up there was Opa diving on in, not able to do much of themselves there as this Kaisa. It's not enough burst.
Shockwave is up.
And
there it is. There's a kill. It's too easy for Intruder this far ahead.
Yeah, and I know, guys, they're trying here, but it's just, it just feels so insurmountable right now. They're going to need a few back-to-back miracles. Rice Farmer Tony in danger. There's the Gravitum route. They can't even go into their own jungle and farm without losing half their health and having to run away.
They're bleeding turrets all over the Rift. They've lost 4 of them, potentially 5, as nobody can really even come up here to contest this Rift Herald crash. And this game is so dire for the old guys. This might be an immediate reset Baron call with how far ahead Acta on Verba are.
It could just very well be. You have this just super fed lineup here. Does Hypnotic Viper get to finish 3 items here before the Baron? Well, before the Baron gets started, I should say. The Baron is up. I don't think they do, but yeah, only 220 and they just bought here. So probably want to have 3 items when the Baron happens, but still, a 2 I am Aphelios with an extra longsword here kind of does damage to objectives. So if they get their little middens on that Baron, it can be a lot. Rice Farmer Tony also spotted out there by that ward and have to skedaddle.
Yeah, that was deja vu the last play, but Hypnotic Viper didn't have summoners up, so it could have been a little more successful. Great warding, and we're back to this. How does Rice Farmer Tony even get anywhere close to clear these wards with the turret difference, with the goal difference, with everything going on?
Yeah, when you're behind as Vi, like, it is just so hard to operate. You have Sundered Divine here. That is your only item. That is your only source of tankiness here. You go in, you're not really doing a lot of damage to Threaten. Hypnotic Viper's Aphelios here. And this Aphelios just sitting on 2.5 items will absolutely shred you. Everyone else is going to shred you. What follow-up do you have? Right now, it's Opa's Kaisa. Maybe Kaisa is able to hop on in. They're looking.
Surprised they didn't pull the trigger there. Killer Instinct was up. So was Cease and Desist, but maybe a lack of vision on where Stale Bagel was. They don't. And I understand that that could cause some hesitancy, but with the difference in gold, any opportunity you can get close enough for an ult on a Hypnotic Viper with people around, I feel like you got to take it, Go Farino.
Yeah, you kind of got to go for the YOLO plays here. But holding off on that, you're only going to get so many more chances this game here as the old guys, though.
Acting on Verba certainly willing to play slow. They know the stakes of this game, and they know how back and forth the last one went when they ended up losing. More than enough positions to win, and they'll just index into starting up and trying to secure this 23-minute Cloud Soul. Do the old guys look for a match? Baron is up on the other side if they want to try, but nothing.
Yeah, because if they start Baron, it's like, okay. I mean, A&V is just so far ahead. They can 4v5 you here pretty easily if it's just somewhere clumped up like that Baron pit. So that's going to be Clown Soul going on over to A&V. They're just going to keep reestablishing dominance and vision control on this top side here and look to just bring themselves to a dub here in this game.
Rice Farmer Tony's still looking for these avenues, but by this point, Hypnotic Viper and Intruder, I mean, they are so powerful. The Zhonya's completed for Intruder as well, just an extra element of safety for this Orianna if the dive comes on to Intruder. And at this point, I gotta think, you shove waves up. I know 5v5 Baron throws are definitely a thing in Season 14, but it's gotta be the easiest option for how far ahead A and V are.
Yeah. Yeah. And are they going for it? Yep, they hop over the pit, and they are starting it on up. Rice Farmer, Tony, and totally Opa here. Gonna do their best. Gonna spot at least Etch in there. Going to stop this take for a little bit. But the Baron's actually still being attacked here. Top players both preoccupied with themselves. Yep. Nature's Grass coming on out. Gonna root up Rice Farmer Tony.
Yep. Here comes a Pop Blossom. It does grab 3. And they do get an immediate shutdown. Hypnotic Viper is picked off. An immediate Zoni's has to come through for Intruder. But Stale Bagel is still swinging Intruder. Able to get out. Dodges the Q. And the re-engage will come through across. But Stale Bagel is still getting brunted. Rice Farmer Tony getting his free shot at Etchin. Teleport canceled from Nightscale. So no relief is coming through for the old guys. And while the engage was pretty, the goal difference is just too much. Acting on Verba will survive and pick up the kills needed.
And the Cloud Soul just coming in clutch there. So many members of A&V running away with barely any health. Is this a solo kill? Okay, Sunder Defline. I think Nightsteel enough health here, but going back to that play, Acta on Verba. Making beautiful use of the Cloud Soul there. Just kind of escape everything there on the tail end.
Oh, that's a solo.
Nope. And it's Baron anyways.
It stinks Go Farino because if the gold lead were even like a third closer, that's a game-changing play. That's what you make the comp for. The Pop Blossom, every carry, Kaiso gets in, Rice Farmer Tony gets in, but they're just too far behind. It does not matter. You can see here, Hypnotic Viper doesn't lose a 1v1 as a Aphelios to Kaiso. That's how far ahead they are.
Yep. This Akali just finally finishing their second item, and it's going to be the Leandries here. It's going to be pretty decent against the health stacking top side here, but Leandries as Akali just feels so terrible because it takes away, you're not getting real punch from an item. Pop Blossom.
Great minion bait in here. They're diving on to Hypnotic Viper, and once again, he will be the one to fall to the pick comp. That's one Baron and another big amount of gold brought out, but now Intruder's here. Shock Blast only hits on the Nightscale, survives the Orianna ult, but the damage is still enough to take down Rice Farmer Tony. Stale Bagel is unkillable at this point. Damage overloading, and that inhibitor soon to fall.
And once again, I mean, the old guys there, they find a good fight. It's just the wallet gap You know, it's the Scrooge McDuck strat where you just bludgeon them to death with sacks of gold there. 2 for 1 in the end. Baron minions pouring in from 2 sides here. This could just be game.
Certainly will be if Etchen likes to engage on a Kai'Sa like that. Stale Bagel, I mean, I haven't seen his health bar dip below 80% at this point. He's taking up Nexus turrets. Does finally have to use his Crescent Guard defensively, but it's over. Stale Bagel will get the final fleeting kills. What a bounce back for Acta on Verba. They certainly put the action in their Latin-rooted name, and now they can do the talk of the talk as they punch their ticket further in the loser's bracket.
Yep, it's only going to get harder from here on out, though, so curious to see what ANV does next week to tighten up their gameplay, because we did see some slip-ups in that game number 2 there, but game number 3, absolutely just dominant from what felt like minute 5 that game here, Slayer.
Certainly sings our predictions home, go for which feels nice for us because we were whiffing going into this matchup on the caster
That's
desk.
true.
But acting on Verba, they make sure that every single. I want to make sure I have this right. Yeah, so every single team, top team of their group is still alive in the playoffs. Acting on Verba, the only ones to drop to the lower bracket from the kickoff of the playoffs, but they still show why. And you talked about it before we throw to the analyst desk. I mean, when Stale Bagel and Intruder are on, this team does look capable to really go toe-to-toe with a lot of these opponents in the Mythic League.
Yeah, and other teams definitely going to be taking note of that combo here that are going to have to face them later in the bracket. We do have some other results here from tonight, though. We can rattle those off potentially before we go to Desk here, or Desk can rattle those off if they do so choose. Either works for me, but I think that's going to do it here for us, at least on the caster desk.
Yeah, that's going to wrap things up. But like every night, let's make sure to throw it over to the analyst desk. Bonfire and Dabimon take us through the dominating finish for Acting on Verba.
Thank you, Slayer. Good to be back. We appreciate you sending it back over to us, Dabimon. Got a little bit of a special guest here alongside you. We saw him running around in the background, looking very cute on camera. But you might be a member of the old guys, but your fallen brethren did not fare so well in Game 3. Oh, you're still muted, my friend.
That's my fault.
There we go.
Yeah. So I definitely could have been one of the old guys as an old guy myself. But you're right. They didn't fare too well. We talked about it in pre-draft how it wasn't really a synergistic team. They just picked weird things and thought they would work because they're like, oh, these are counter picks. But just because you have a counter pick doesn't really mean you're going to win the game, right? Like a counter pick means it's maybe 55% winnable. Like the other 45% chance is still there that you're going to lose, and especially if you don't synergize with the rest of your team, such as having all in and disengage, then it's just not going to work out. And it didn't work out for them in this game whatsoever.
No, it did not. We'll get the first replay going right about now, as it was an early lead for this Kai'Sa. Did a good job getting a triple kill in that first gank, but Davimon, break us through this one because it did not stay that way.
You're right. Appa definitely was in a position to do great things, but just being hyper aggressive the entire time, and you can see he's just being caught out of position. And with the fact that Stale Bagel was able to come in, freely get the smite, win the smite battle off of Rice Farmer Tony, it just spelled disaster for the team. And from then on, it was A and V's game to lose. Like, they were doing so well, so dominant, and Appa was a null factor at that point. Like, did 0 damage for the rest of the game, which is why I'm a big proponent of the LS's build, because all you have to do is poke, and kind of like the old AP Kai'Sa build where you just poked. And that's all that they could have done to prep the objective here.
Poke wasn't there. Like you said, they tried to get the objective, weren't able to do so. 3-0 at that dragon. Dragon stacking ended up being a problem for them as they ended up giving over the soul fairly early. As we're going to go to this next replay. At this point, felt like they were pretty far behind. It wasn't over yet. they could use a big win. And this Baron really was the catalyst, though. If they lose this, they lose the entire base. They recognize that it is dire straits, and it starts off well. Hypnotic Viper on this Aphelios. This is why we were talking about a potential Thresh pick. If the Aphelios gets picked off, it gets really difficult to play the game. And when you don't have a support to help you, you die just like that. But the thing is, the gold was simply too much in the favor of ANV, and the old guys just couldn't get through stale bagel. They bit down as hard as they wanted to, but those 3 days of sitting on the countertop meant that it was going to break your teeth. And still bagel broke their chances at winning this game. The teleport got stopped as well, so they didn't even have the Poppy to help them tank it up. And this Sin Zhao just absolutely slaughtered everybody else. They were able to get the Baron as well. And so that was that. It felt like at that point probably was the game. You lose the Baron, you lose a bunch of kills. Even when you pick off the incredibly fed Aphelios, you don't win the fight. Feels like it might be a GG, and it was.
Yeah, they didn't have the gold like you said. They also weren't prioritizing targets correctly. That was just a chaotic team fight. Each person going after their own target after the Aphelios died, because that was the priority. But we just weren't utilizing our ultimates smartly as well. Kaisa just used her Relentless Hunter and went all the way in just to die for free in that team fight. But
yeah.
Moving into our third replay.
I was about to say, let's get up this third replay, and Dabimon, feel free. End this one off, my friend.
Yeah, so just a lot of misplays. We were not centralized in one spot, and this all happened because Rice, Farmer Tony, was able to just get picked off for free. And the Baron of Power Minions, the 15k gold league, the fact that each person was down a substantial item, no matter what happened, there was just no damage to do anything. There was potential if Nightscale was able to utilize his ultimate correctly and actually hit somebody, might have provoked a winning team fight and stalled the game out, but there was just nothing that could be done.
Yeah, even if this game stalled out, there was still an Aphelios they had to worry about. It felt like the writing was on the wall, and Dabimon, it just ended up where old guys stalled at the finish line. A big Game 2 victory provided to be not enough. We want to say thank you here at the Mythical League for participating, for making it to playoffs. Old guys did have a good run, making it all this way, but they will bow out of the playoffs right now, and we are going to bow out of the cast because that's all the games we have. So we appreciate you all for coming down on your Thursday night. Slayer and Gofrino on the cast, Dabiman and I on the analyst desk, and All's filling in on producer duty. We want to give you all a massive thank you for tuning in, and be sure to tune in every Thursday because these playoffs are only going to ramp up. If you want to see any more of ANV or really any other team in these playoffs, you're going to have to tune in here. This is where all the coverage is going to come across. But like I said, for tonight, that's about it. Have a great night. Be good to each other. We'll see you later.